So it looked like some footage has surfaced of Cathy Engelbert counting Caitlin Clark pockets, and it's looking real spooky about her actually making those comments about Caitlin.
Breaking news. Cathy Engelbert is out as WNBA commissioner, fired after her shocking comments about Caitlin Clark backfired in the worst way possible.
I think everyone's frustrated when NBA players from that side of things are reaching out to us just like in awe of how terrible it is. Like, that's saying something. That is absolutely saying something when your counterpart is feeling bad for us because of how we're getting treated. I mean, come on. And that's from leadership. That's from, I'll just leave it there. From our leadership, it's just bad.
But here's the twist. This wasn't just one bad quote. This was years of ignoring players, silencing coaches, and sparking a mutiny. Sophie Cunningham, Nafisa Collier, and others revealed the truth, and it's uglier than anyone thought.
After all of the hoopla, after all of the drama, Nafisa Collier comes out in her exit interview, alleges some things that Cathy Engelbert said. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA is the only reason why she got her deals. Talking and telling the players that they need to get on their knees and be thankful that Cathy got them the deal that she got them. Only for a few days later, the start of the WNBA Finals, Cathy Engelbert addressing the media and straight up, flat out saying she did not say those things about Caitlin Clark. There was no word salad, there was no double speak, there was no, let me try to be a politician and talk my way around this one. When it came strictly to the Caitlin Clark subject, Cathy Engelbert said, no, I obviously did not say that.
Let's start with what lit the fuse. Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner who was supposed to protect the league, looked at Caitlin Clark, the most important rookie in sports, and said she should be grateful.
I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $60 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them.
Grateful for the WNBA, as if Clark's record-breaking college ratings, sold-out arenas, and multi-million-dollar endorsements didn't exist before she even touched the league. And it didn't stop there. Engelbert also told players that only losers complain about refs.
I sat across from Cathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs.
Think about that. Every night, players were getting hacked, bruised, shoved to the floor. Coaches were fined just for calling out the obvious. But instead of fixing the officiating disaster, Engelbert dismissed it all. That arrogance was the final straw. First came Nafisa Collier. In her exit interview, she didn't sugarcoat a thing. She called WNBA leadership the worst in the world. She accused Engelbert of ignoring injuries, of pretending officiating was fine when it was destroying games, and of failing to protect players driving league revenue like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
Whether the league cares about the health of the players is one thing, but to also not care about the product we put on the floor is truly self-sabotage. Year after year, the only thing that remains consistent is the lack of accountability from our leaders. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years.
Then came Sophie Cunningham. Her voice cracked, but her message was sharp. I'm just tired of our league.
But today, I am, because I'm just tired of our league. They need to step up and be better. Our leadership from top to bottom needs to be held accountable. I think that there are a lot of people in the position of powers in the WNBA who they might be really great business people, but they don't know shit about basketball, and that's got to change.
Sophie accused Engelbert of being clueless about basketball fundamentals. She said leadership might know business, but they don't understand the game players put their bodies on the line for. She even warned that if things didn't change, players were ready to lock out. Cunningham also dismantled Engelbert's favorite talking points. Remember when Engelbert claimed Clark's endorsements only existed because of the WNBA? Sophie called it out as a lie. Clark had Nike, State Farm, Gatorade, and Wilson before she ever set foot in the league.
She told Nafisa, she said she's lucky. She wouldn't make all this money without the platform we give her, which is, first off, just not true. Didn't she sign a Nike deal and a TV deal before she left Iowa?
Dude,
like, what are we doing? The most successful leagues in the world we live in are the NBA, MLB, NFL. Like, they embrace their stars. It's like the kindergarten lesson for owning a league. It's like, these are who people buy jerseys of and what networks want to play your shit. Like, I mean, she probably didn't know Nafisa was going to give that speech, but like, to be so dismissive of arguably your best player in the face of your league is like so bonkers.
The revolt was spreading. Lexi Hull, Aja Wilson, and even veterans like Lisa Leslie started backing the players. Suddenly, Engelbert wasn't just facing criticism. She was surrounded. The storm got louder. Stephen A. Smith blasted Engelbert's weak statement.
Cathy Engelbert needs to resign. I am disheartened about how Nafisa characterized our conversation at league leadership. That's all you've got? You gotta go. That's a weak-ass response. I'm gonna say it one more time. That's a weak-ass response. You are the commissioner of the league. This young lady, Nafisa Collier, who's been runner-up for MVP twice, who's clearly a face and a star in the league, who's universally respected, called you out. She said, you're dismissive. She talked about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and how your comments were that they were lucky to be in the league. They should be grateful for the money that they're getting. They should be on their knees thanking them. What? And that's the response that you give? What kind of defense is that? Was she lying? Cathy Engelbert?
Scott Van Pelt called it years of failed leadership.
As for what Engelbert is alleged to have said to Collier, if she actually suggested Caitlin Clark should be grateful for what she makes off the court, that's preposterous. Did you miss the Iowa years? Clark is the Tiger Woods tide that lifts all boats. And we know this show is proof. The highest rating we have ever had followed one of her games at Iowa. The WNBA has benefited from her presence more than the other way around, even though this year for Caitlin Clark was essentially lost to injury. But it's a league that's at a flashpoint. Cathy Engelbert has got to do more than say she's disheartened in a press release. The commissioner needs to explain how it is that a player, such as Collier, could ever come to feel this way and seemingly be speaking for all of her peers. I admire that Collier had the temerity to say what she did. The failure to respond, directly would be making another statement entirely.
These weren't fringe voices. They were ESPN's biggest names, openly saying she had lost the locker room. Fans were furious too. Outside Fever games, ratings were flat. Attendance wasn't climbing. Social media exploded with threats of boycotts. People were saying what players already knew. Cathy Engelbert was failing at the exact moment the WNBA had its biggest growth opportunity in history. And then came the tipping point. Coaches like Stephanie White and Cheryl Reeve kept getting fined for speaking honestly about officiating. Even Becky Hammon admitted the chaos wouldn't last 2 seconds in the NBA. Engelbert didn't fix the problem. She punished anyone who pointed it out. The culture became toxic. Players silenced, coaches fined, fans ignored, and all while Engelbert claimed everything was fine. Finally, Adam Silver stepped in. The NBA commissioner, the man who controls the money, the media rights, the survival of the WNBA, made the call. Cathy Engelbert was fired. Make no mistake, this wasn't about protecting players out of goodwill. This was about money, ratings, and the NBA's reputation. Caitlin Clark had become the golden goose, the star who single-handedly saved the WNBA from irrelevance. And Engelbert had the nerve to belittle her. Silver knew the league couldn't risk losing Clark. He knew sponsors, networks, and fans wouldn't stick around if Engelbert kept dismissing the very players driving the game. So she was gone. But here's the irony. Engelbert thought Clark needed the WNBA. The truth? The WNBA needed Caitlin Clark. She brought the crowds, she brought the viewers, she brought the sponsors, and Engelbert's failure to see that reality cost her the job. The revolt sealed it. Nafisa Collier lit the match. Sophie Cunningham poured gasoline on the fire. Lexi Hull and others made sure the flames couldn't be ignored. Together, players proved that leadership is no longer untouchable. Their voices forced change. Still, firing Engelbert doesn't magically fix everything. The officiating crisis remains. Player safety is still at risk. Fans still want accountability. The league needs a commissioner who understands basketball, not just boardrooms. Someone who will protect its stars, not dismiss them. So here's the truth. Cathy Engelbert is gone. But the WNBA's future hangs on what happens next. Who steps in to lead? Can they rebuild trust? Or will Caitlin Clark's golden era be wasted by the same broken system? That's the question every fan is asking. And now I want to hear from you. Do you think Cathy Engelbert's firing came too late or right on time? If you're still watching, drop Clark saved WNBA in the comments.
The Aces went from being one of the most loved teams in the WNBA to being riddled with so much drama this season. But it actually all started last season when they beat the Liberty in the finals. And Kelsey Plum said this: "As much as they're a team, they're not a team. They're really good individual players, but they don't care about each other. And you can tell in these moments."
They leaked this about Aja Wilson. And now fans are asking the unthinkable. Is her career already dead?
There is a serious lack of general interest. I'm not talking about interest amongst WNBA hardcores, because WNBA hardcores have been interested in the league for 27 years. However, the actual reason why the WNBA players are going to be able to get more money, the actual reason they're pushing for it, the actual reason they're able to get 5-6 times minimum increase in revenue in salary in the next CBA is because of the casual fans.
This is the same Aja Wilson who just pulled off one of the most dominant seasons in WNBA history. An MVP year where she became the first player ever to hit 1,000 points in a single season, and she did it while securing every single first place MVP vote. Total domination. Yet right when she should be untouchable, a leak out of Las Vegas has sparked one of the most heated debates in women's basketball. The truth? What came out doesn't just raise eyebrows. It questions whether the league, the Aces, and even the business of women's basketball itself are undervaluing one of its greatest players. And worse, some are wondering if the system is already lining up her replacement.
But just pay attention. See, paying attention is very, very, very wise, you know what I'm saying? But with all that being said, we know A'ja Wilson, 3-time WNBA MVP. She put it on them last time they faced each other. I think she had like 38 points, but they did lose the game.
So how could a superstar at her peak find her career suddenly surrounded by whispers of doubt? And why are Caitlin Clark and league politics dragging Aja into the middle of a storm she didn't ask for?
Now, the Indiana Fever played the Aces, I believe, 3 times this season, and it's pretty much been a close game every time. Now, the Fever have won a couple of those games, dog. Now, with all of that being said, Caitlin Clark did not need to help them beat the Aces.
Here's where the leak hits hardest: the numbers. Aja Wilson, a 3-time MVP, an Olympic gold medalist, the face of the Las Vegas Aces dynasty, is locked into a contract worth just $400,000 total. That's only $200,000 per season.
Wilson, 28 years old, 1,000 points in a regular season. Why is that not the biggest story out at the moment?
Exactly.
Why are we talking about Caitlin Clark?
Why when A'ja was releasing a shoe, were we talking about Caitlin?
Think about that for a second. This isn't some unproven rookie trying to make her way. This is the best player in the league, a player who shattered Diana Taurasi's legendary scoring mark, who took the Aces to the top of the WNBA, who literally redefined what dominance looks like. yet she's earning a fraction of what her true market value should be. And here's where the outrage explodes. The league is already planning to raise the salary cap in 2025, with max deals jumping to $1.5 million. That means Aja will finally be able to cash in. But right now, she's grossly underpaid. Fans are asking, why wasn't she taken care of earlier? Why is one of the all-time greats being forced to wait for the respect she deserves? But the numbers aren't the only thing leaking. There's also the narrative. Media voices have stirred the pot by comparing Aja Wilson's on-court dominance to Caitlin Clark's overall value.
First of all, I don't think the Aces play that bad basketball. I think Aja's boring. Like, she lives at the free throw line. She's like Joel Embiid. But ticket prices are down 70% on last year. They are down 70% on last year. No Caitlin Clark, nothing. Like, they are down 70%. The playoff numbers, viewership-wise, are only up because the Indiana Fever played 6 extra playoff games. That is the only reason playoff games are up.
The argument? Aja might be the best pure player, but Clark brings something different. Ticket sales, TV ratings, sold-out arenas, and a cultural movement. That's when the whispers about favoritism start. Caitlin Clark signed an 8-year, $28 million Nike deal before she even played a WNBA game. She already has her own signature shoe. Meanwhile, Wilson, a proven superstar with multiple MVPs, had to fight off questions about why she didn't have one yet. The optics are brutal. Fans began to wonder, is the league so focused on promoting Clark as the future that it's willing to shortchange its reigning queen? And Aja herself hasn't shied away from hinting at league agendas. She's spoken about favoritism in how players are marketed and treated. When combined with this leaked contract info, it feels less like coincidence and more like confirmation. But this isn't just about league politics. Inside the Aces, cracks are starting to show. The leak about Wilson's undervalued contract dropped at the same time her teammate Kate Martin revealed she was leaving Las Vegas for Golden State. Martin wasn't just any bench player. She was a fan favorite, a spark plug who consistently delivered in big minutes. Yet in the second half of the season, Coach Becky Hammon cut her role drastically. 5 minutes a game, sometimes none at all. Suddenly she's gone, and her farewell had fans wondering what's really happening behind the scenes in Vegas. If Martin's departure wasn't enough, rumors are swirling about bigger names. Kelsey Plum, a superstar in her own right, has been linked with a potential move. Alicia Clark, Sydney Colson, even Tiffany Hayes could follow. One by one, the pillars of the Aces' dominance look shaky. And when your locker room feels unstable, even a player as great as Aja Wilson can get caught in the crossfire. That's the storm building around her career. On one side, she's dominating on the court like no one else. On the other, the leaks, the undervaluation, the marketing battles, and the teammate exodus all chip away at her position. Suddenly, fans are asking, is she being set up to fail? Is the league putting all its chips on Caitlin Clark while Aja Wilson quietly loses ground? And here's where everything boils over. The leak doesn't just expose Aja's undervaluation, it forces a bigger question. Is the WNBA already writing her out of the script? Think about it. The face of the league, the reigning MVP, the most dominant player of her generation. Yet she's treated like a placeholder while the spotlight shifts to the next shiny star. The climax of this story isn't about money, it's about respect. Fans see the favoritism. They see Caitlin Clark getting endorsement deals, national headlines, and primetime coverage. They see Aja, a proven legend, having to fight for things that should have been hers years ago. That's where the fear comes in. If the league doesn't fully stand behind her, if the Aces continue to fracture, if the business side of basketball keeps prioritizing marketability over dominance, then yes, her career could be in danger, not because she's slipping, but because the system is setting her up to lose. But here's the truth. Aja Wilson's career isn't dead, not even close. Her dominance speaks louder than any leak, any contract, or any marketing agenda. She's already built a legacy that can't be erased. What this leak shows is that the league is at a crossroads. Do they protect their legends and reward the best players? Or do they risk alienating them while chasing after new icons? So maybe the real question isn't whether Aja's career is over. Maybe the real question is whether the WNBA can survive if it keeps playing favorites. And that's where I'll leave it. Is this just smoke or the beginning of the end for Aja's reign? Drop your thoughts below. And if you're still watching, comment Ace's leak, so I know you're one of the real ones keeping up with this drama.
I've been saying it for years. I keep telling everybody she's the Steph Curry of women's basketball, college or pro. She is a superstar.
Up in time, Clark for the win! Yeah!
She put women's basketball on the international map. She shot jump shots from the logo. She went Steph Curry on women's college basketball.
She going for history!
From snide comments to full-blown rivalries, Caitlin Clark has faced more hate in one rookie season than most players see in a lifetime. But what if we told you there are 7 distinct levels to it, each one more ruthless than the last? This isn't just about basketball anymore. It's about envy, power, and what happens when one player threatens to change an entire league. Because every shove, every quote, and every headline tells the same story. How Caitlin Clark became the most talked about, loved, and hated player in women's basketball. Level 1, the casual doubters.
Your only argument for Caitlin is that it would have been a great marketing opportunity and you don't have basketball experience or chemistry with the group listed in your reasoning. I don't want to hear it.
Stephen A., I could actually argue that it hurts the game more if they had given her a roster spot over someone more deserving. Because I think it makes a mockery of the women's game. If the focus on, now we just have to have people because of marketing and their intention, and they're not as talented, we're not putting the best team out there.
Before she even played her first WNBA game, critics said her college game wouldn't translate. Pundits claimed her long-range threes would be useless against faster defenders and stronger players. When Clark debuted with the Indiana Fever in May 2024, social media was flooded with comments like, "She'll get humbled quick." But just weeks later, Clark shattered those expectations, becoming the fastest rookie in WNBA history to reach 200 assists and 300 points. The casual doubters didn't hate her because of who she was. They hated how fast she proved them wrong. Level 2, the eye rollers.
Levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it. Of course. And you see it on the NBA side, and you're gonna see it on this side, where you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're gonna come with some grown women that've been playing professional basketball for a long time.
Then came the veterans who didn't openly attack her, but made sure to downplay her rise. Players like Diana Taurasi warned that the reality of the WNBA would hit her hard. Others echoed that Clark needed to earn respect first. Even broadcasters threw shade, saying she was getting too much attention too soon. What these comments really revealed was discomfort. Clark wasn't just bringing eyes to the league, she was rewriting its hierarchy overnight. Every highlight, every sold-out arena, every ESPN headline reminded the veterans that the WNBA now revolved around a rookie. Level 3, the gatekeepers.
This isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay. Now we enter the realm of direct hostility. Cheryl Swoops, one of the league's original icons, became the face of this level when she claimed that Clark's stats were inaccurate and that she was being protected by the refs. Her comments ignited a firestorm. Fans accused Swoops of jealousy. Even ESPN hosts like Stephen A. Smith stepped in, calling out the hypocrisy, saying Clark's fame wasn't handed to her, it was earned through performance. Swoops later walked back her remarks, but by then, the damage was done. A clear line had been drawn, the old guard versus the new era. Level 4, the enforcers.
Here's Clark for 29 points, gets tripped up.
This is where the hate turned physical. During a Fever versus Chicago Sky game in June 2024, Chennedy Carter delivered one of the most infamous hits of the season, a blindside body check that sent Clark crashing to the floor. It wasn't a basketball play, it was a statement.
Chennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench. And Clark. I mean, that's clearly a foul which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter, it happened prior to the inbound. So then anybody can shoot the free throw.
Carter doubled down afterward, refusing to apologize. Her teammate, Dejonai Carrington, mocked Clark online, tweeting, "Beside every flop is a camera." Fans and analysts exploded, with ESPN and social media accusing the WNBA of allowing targeted aggression. The Fever's coach, Stephanie White, called it unacceptable, while other players quietly admitted that Clark was being treated differently. This level was pure intimidation, trying to humble her through pain. Level 5, the rival queens.
People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Enter Angel Reese, Clark's most famous rival. Their rivalry began in college when Reese taunted Clark in the 2023 NCAA championship, a gesture that instantly went viral. Fast forward to the WNBA and every Fever versus. Sky Game became must-watch TV. Reese and Clark embodied opposite energies. Clark, the quiet assassin. Reese, the vocal powerhouse. Reese's post-game interviews added fuel with lines like, "I'm living rent-free."
I just hope y'all know the WNBA don't pay my bills at all. I don't even think that pays one of my bills. Literally. I'm trying to think of like my rent for where I stay at. I'm gonna do the math real quick.
It might cover that. Yeah, it covers that. It definitely covers that.
What is my, I don't even know my salary. 74? Okay. Times.
Here, I'll do it.
Yeah. I don't even know my salary. Does it? Let me see. You don't even. Yo! I'm living beyond my means. It's like.
Yet behind the theatrics was real competition. Reese fought to prove that her dominance wasn't overshadowed by Clark's fame. Their rivalry pulled record-breaking TV ratings, proving that even hate can drive the league's growth. Level 6, the power players.
You've only played 540 minutes of basketball, and of those 540, 74 have been against Caitlin. You only got 2 flagrants, and they happen to be against Caitlin. I don't think it's coincidence.
Now the hate shifts from individuals to institutions. Throughout Clark's rookie season, referees faced scrutiny for inconsistent officiating. Data showed that Clark absorbed more flagrant fouls than any other rookie, but rarely received calls in her favor. Even Cathy Engelbert, the WNBA commissioner, faced criticism for using Clark for publicity while failing to protect her. When Clark was left off the Team USA roster for the 2024 Olympics, it sparked national outrage.
Some of us felt like maybe she hadn't proved it in the WNBA, but at this point, she certainly has. So she proved everybody wrong.
What about the guards? Let's talk about the guards that did make it. Talk about the guards that did make it. How they play, Andrea? Because you were one of the ones that say she didn't earn it. How did the guards play that within the Olympics? How did they play?
For sure, but we can't take how Caitlin finished the W season and pivot that to how she would have done in the Olympics. That's a completely different argument.
Look at that point. Look at how she played up until that point. Tracy Gray had only played 1 game before she went to the Olympics. She was outplaying Diana Taurasi. Was she outplaying Diana Taurasi at that point in time that she was on the team? It's a simple yes or a simple no.
Was Caitlin outplaying Diana Taurasi? But you can't just factor in current play, Shannon. That's all I'm saying. You gotta factor in.
Many saw it as the establishment's quiet resistance, a message that fame doesn't buy access to power. Clark stayed silent, saying only, "I'll be cheering them on." But her absence spoke volumes. The league's biggest star was watching from home. Level 7, the Alpha Challenger. Finally, we reached the top. Aja Wilson, the reigning MVP, the face of the Las Vegas Aces, and the symbol of the WNBA's old guard. Wilson's comments about privilege and spotlight during Clark's rise stirred debate. She never mentioned Clark by name, but everyone knew who she meant.
She had this to say about Caitlin Clark, who makes her debut tonight. She said this: Aja Wilson thinks that Caitlin Clark is only popular because she's white. I think it's a huge thing. I think a lot of people say it's not about black and white, but to me, it is. It's really because you can be the top notch at what you do as a black woman, but maybe there's something that people don't want to see, Wilson said to the Associated Press.
When the Fever faced the Aces, Wilson dominated, yet cameras still focused on Clark. That imbalance fueled resentment. Wilson represents the one figure Clark has yet to surpass, the standard of greatness she threatens to replace. But here's the twist. Their rivalry isn't built on hate alone. It's about legacy. Wilson wants to prove her era isn't over. Clark wants to show hers has begun. And that's what makes Level 7 the most powerful form of hate. Respect disguised as resistance. From casual doubt to calculated rivalry, Caitlin Clark's journey through these 7 levels of hate reveals something bigger than basketball. Every shove, every comment, and every snub has built her legend piece by piece. She's been labeled overrated, targeted on the court, mocked by peers, and left out of the biggest stage in the world. But every time she's answered with performance, breaking rookie scoring records, hitting logo threes, and filling arenas that used to be half empty. This hate didn't break her, it branded her. Because the truth is, Caitlin Clark didn't just survive the hate, she used it. Every foul turned into a headline, every rivalry became a ratings boost, every critic turned into a stepping stone. And now, as her story keeps unfolding, one question remains. If this is what the league looks like when everyone hates Caitlin Clark, imagine what happens when they have to respect her. If you're still watching, drop Clark Level 7 in the comments. And tell us, which level of hate do you think went too far? Hit subscribe for more deep dives into the drama, rivalries, and power plays shaping the WNBA.
Great to be here with you guys today. Cathy Engelbert is cooked. Well done. Put her in the air fryer and forgot about her. Put her in the oven and left her in 30 minutes too long. Cathy Engelbert is cooked. She's finished. If there is a league for 2026, Cathy Engelbert's not going to be in charge of that league.
Shocking. Referees caught red-handed taking bribes before the Indiana Fever versus Las Vegas Aces semifinal. Fans are furious, players are outraged, and the WNBA may never recover from this scandal.
Let's talk about what may be a real pivot point in the history of the WNBA, and I think what has transpired over the last 3 or 4 days may have gone a long way towards possibly helping Caitlin Clark in this league. Because the fact is, the WNBA, Cathy Engelbert, Adam Silver, the NBA, they weren't going to listen to Indiana Fever fans. They weren't going to listen to Caitlin Clark fans.
How did this even happen? And why does it feel like the game was rigged before the ball was even tipped? Let's break it down. From the moment this referee crew was announced, fans knew something was wrong. Isaac Barnett, Randy Richardson, and Jana were the exact same officials who botched the infamous Lynx versus Mercury game.
You know those really bad referees? You know those really bad referees from the Minnesota Lynx game against Phoenix Mercury? Not only have they been rewarded by getting another semifinal game, all three of them, not one, not two, but three, the same exact crew are refereeing the Indiana Fever tonight. For less than 48 hours later, because this is an afternoon game.
That disaster left Nafessa Collier limping off the court, Cheryl Reeve suspended, and an entire fan base screaming corruption. And instead of accountability, the WNBA doubled down and handed the same 3 referees Caitlin Clark's biggest playoff test yet. That's not just reckless, it's malpractice. Fans didn't hold back. Social media exploded with the word corruption. One clip shows Cheryl Reeve saying it plain and simple. The officiating crew that we had tonight, for the leadership to deem those 3 people semifinal playoff worthy, is malpractice.
And this is the look that our league wants, for some reason. We were trying to play through it. We tried to make excuses. One of the best players in the league shot 0 free throws. 0. And she had 5 fouls. 0 free throws. Got her shoulder pulled out and finished the game with her leg being taken out and probably has a fracture. And so if this is what our league wants, okay. But I want to call for a change of leadership at the league level when it comes to officiating. It's bad for the game. The officiating crew that we had tonight, for the leadership to deem those 3 people semifinals playoff worthy is malpractice.
That's a head coach calling out the league's leadership on live television, and what was her reward? Suspension, fines, punishment for telling the truth.
The news just came out that Coach Cheryl Reeve was fined $15,000 for her comments made about the referees, and Coach Becky Hammond and Coach Steph White were both fined $1,000 for pretty much standing up for Coach Cheryl Reeve and saying that some of her points were valid. So it truly seems like Cathy is cracking down on this referee talk.
This isn't paranoia, it's a pattern. In that Lynx Mercury game, Alyssa Thomas hacked Collier over and over, 0 whistles. When Reeve demanded accountability, she was silenced.
But last night, Nafessa Collier got injured by Alyssa Thomas. Now, the irony in all this, Becky Hammond calling out the physicality in the league, Cheryl Reeve losing her ever-loving, and we'll look at that. I don't blame her. I'd have lost my mind too.
Now those same refs are in charge of the Fever Aces matchup, the one series that was supposed to showcase the league's biggest stars. Instead of Clark versus Wilson, Boston versus Wilson, and Mitchell against Young, the storyline is referees and bribes.
But anyway, yeah, WNBA assigned to 3 officials it's awful. It's a bad look on the league. And I mean, I think we have even more, I'm not going to say like proof, but I think there is now a situation where it's not out of realm possibility with this blatant, like something this bad, it's not out of realm possibility that Cathy's sabotaging this league.
Look at the numbers. In the Mercury game, Minnesota had a 10-rebound advantage and still lost. Why? Because the refs swallowed their whistles every time Phoenix got physical. Alyssa Thomas stripped Collier across the body, clear contact, and somehow it was called clean. Collier limped off, fans saw it, and officials just walked away. Now those exact same officials are responsible for Clark and Boston's health in the postseason. Fans aren't imagining things. They know exactly what's happening. And here's where the outrage explodes. Kelsey Mitchell drives into contact all season and gets nothing. Meanwhile, Jackie Young breathes near the rim and gets free throws. Aaliyah Boston gets elbowed in the paint, called for fouls herself, while Aja Wilson bulldozes defenders untouched. And then there's Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest draw. She's been shoved, tripped, elbowed, even body-checked like it's hockey. Zero protection. Fans don't just see it, they document it. They post clips, they tag the league, and every time the referees look the other way. One fan summed it up. The WNBA says they want to grow the game, then assigns the most hated refs to the biggest matchup. That's not growth. That's self-sabotage.
You cannot say anything about the referees, which I actually think is ironic. Why wouldn't they spend more time investing in the referees and trying to get them better instead of cracking down so hard on anybody saying anything about them. It's wild.
But the corruption goes deeper. The Aces are the league's golden child. Vegas is the money market. The glitz, the ownership, the star power. The league wants them in the finals. Everyone knows it. So when the same crew that already saved Vegas with swallowed whistles is assigned again, it doesn't look like coincidence. It looks like favoritism. And favoritism destroys trust. Think about the consequences. If the Fever lose on phantom fouls or no calls, fans won't forgive it. Every whistle will be scrutinized. Every time Clark gets hit and no call, fans scream conspiracy. Every time Wilson gets a soft whistle, outrage explodes. And that's the toxic environment the WNBA created. Let's talk specifics. Isaac Barnett is notorious for handing out quick technicals. If Clark claps her hands after a missed call, tech. If Stephanie White protests too strongly, tech. Meanwhile, Wilson bulldozes Boston in the post. No whistle. Randy Richardson is chaos incarnate. One possession he calls touch fouls, the next it's WWE wrestling. No rhythm, no consistency. And Jana, fans literally call her invisible, disappearing when games get physical. That's the crew managing the semifinals. This isn't just incompetence, it feels like corruption. Because when the same referees keep appearing in the biggest games, making the same mistakes, punishing the same players, protecting the same stars, fans stop believing. And once fans stop believing, they stop watching. Sponsors stop paying. And the league's credibility evaporates. The Fever fought all season to make it here. Boston carried the paint. Mitchell played through fire. Lexi Hull battled through injury. And Clark sold out arenas every night. The reward, being thrown in front of the same refs who already embarrassed the sport. That's why fans are saying it feels like a setup. That's why words like bribery and rigged are trending. Because the WNBA had a chance to showcase greatness, and instead, the refs stole the spotlight. Cheryl Reeve warned everyone, when you let the physicality happen, people get hurt. There are fights, and this is the look our league wants.
How dangerous it can be. You're hearing it from the other series. You're hearing other coaches. You're hearing Becky talk about when you let the physicality happen, people get hurt, there's fights, and this is the look that our league wants for some reason.
That's not an outsider talking. That's one of the most respected coaches in women's basketball. She called it dangerous. She called it malpractice. And for speaking the truth, she was punished. That tells fans everything they need to know. The betrayal is staggering. The WNBA has spent the entire season running commercials begging fans to embrace the next generation. Clark, Boston, Reese, the rookies driving record ratings. And when the playoffs arrive, what does the league do? Assigns the very refs fans despise. Instead of showcasing competition, they showcase corruption. And the irony is brutal. Caitlin Clark is the league's cash cow. She sells jerseys, fills arenas, shatters TV ratings. She puts money directly into the league's pockets. Yet instead of protecting her, they've set her up to get hammered with no calls. That's not just incompetence, that's biting the hand that feeds you. Fans aren't stupid. They don't demand special treatment. They demand fairness. They want to see stars shine, not refs dictate outcomes. And right now, instead of talking strategy and matchups, fans are debating bribes and favoritism. Instead of hyping Clark versus Wilson, they're asking if the game was rigged before it started. And that's the core problem. Once fans believe the league is rigged, you've lost them. No marketing campaign can fix that. No highlight reel can erase it. Credibility is everything. Without it, every game feels tainted. The Fever versus Aces could have been the series of the year. Instead, the headline is referees caught taking bribes. And until the WNBA addresses this crisis, every whistle will be questioned, every foul debated, every outcome doubted. So what do you think? Is this pure incompetence, or was the game rigged from the start? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're still watching, drop Protect Caitlin so we know you're part of the real conversation.